Hello, fellow Econauts, and welcome back to our show. I'm here with my brother Ben, the Rocket Man, and after talking about super heavy and heavy rockets, we are wondering how do we get them into space? And therefore, we are talking about a heavy launch facility. Hey, Ben, how are you?
Hey, fellow Econauts. Hey, Simon, how's it going? Yeah, we stick with the heavy topics.
The heavy
So,
topics,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Indeed, yeah. So, what is so special about a heavy launch facility?
We need certain requirements, obviously, to build one, and we don't have many of them. The special thing about a heavy launch facility, or maybe even a super heavy launch facility, is that you can launch super heavy or heavy rockets from there. You can also launch small rockets from there, which is obviously not possible from a small launch facility. It is usually larger, has more adjacent structures and other facilities to it, which in itself generate a lot of jobs and a lot of space economical activity.
And what are the requirements to build a heavy launch facility?
I have recently given a TEDx talk about where to build and how to build a heavy launch facility. And building a heavy launch facility or super heavy launch facility requires a little bit of a Goldilocks situation. You need to be close enough to the equator that you save energy, but not too close to avoid weather patterns which you find at the equator. You need to be in a geopolitical stable environment. You need enough room to build the facility. You need logistics connections, such as a deep water port, train connections, streets, and so on. You need a good GDP in the country you're building it. You need the skilled workers, and so on. You need the government support. You need streamlined processes so that you can actually launch them rapidly. There's lots of things you have to consider if you want to build a heavy launch facility.
Well, you just mentioned some very interesting points here. And there's, of course, one question that comes to mind, and that is the economic impact locally and globally on the space economy.
Any launch facility has an impact straight away in its local area because of generating jobs and space and economical activity in general. Because if you launch something, you need to deliver things, you need to build things. I believe the huge difference, the heavy difference when you build a heavy launch facility is the scale. So economic of scale makes sort of kicks in. It's larger, you need way more people working on there, you need way more facilities. It has a chance to, also have spillover effects to tourism, spillover effects to manufacturing, spillover effects to other. Also you have a broader spectrum of what you can actually do there. And if you compare it a little bit to an airport, it's a bit like if you have a small helicopter airport somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, you have a couple workers working there, because they have to operate, and maybe some people have to look at the sky and make sure that no collisions are happening and coordinate the landing and so on. But on an airport, you have like a massive amount of airplanes going in and out, a massive amount of people going in and out. So the scale is different, and therefore there's also more money floating around then.
So the comparison of a heavy launch facility can be made with an international airport. That's basically, I think, a very interesting comparison that you just made there. And I think it's not very far-fetched because, and I think we mentioned that many, many times in previous episodes, and don't forget to check them out.
Mhm.
Uh, that if we have like a highway to space, sorry,
Oh, way to
way to space.
space.
If we have that, then obviously we need to have like an infrastructure that is complementing that spaceport, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, in order to get, let's say space tourism in the classical sense that we send people into space, can only happen once the space economy is so strong and generates so much revenue that the price per passenger goes so much down that people can afford it. Similar to the Concorde. The Concorde was an airplane which could fly very fast. However, it doesn't fly anymore because the tickets were too expensive. People get cheaper tickets. They rather fly 3 hours longer and can work on the plane, or even 4 hours longer, I think, and work on the plane than paying like 3 times as much to fly quick with the Concorde. Although it was a very cool airplane, I would love to see such an airplane again. But similar with the space economy or with the space tourism, in the sense that we send tourists into orbit and further, that can only happen once people like everybody can afford it. And I think this is where that's what I meant with economic of scale. We can only bring the price down if we, that's my opinion at least, if we scale up.
Right, and it's not only tourists, right? It's also if we have to launch equipment into space. And we
Yeah,
talked about that when we talked about the super heavy and heavy rockets in previous episodes.
yeah.
Having like,
That's my point. That's my point. We have to establish that first to have that strong space economy, which then can generate these spillover effects because it gets cheaper because there's an economic interest in doing so. Now suddenly it enables other ideas such as space tourism to happen in the first place.
and of
Yeah,
course also to have like engineers surrounding that maybe make repairs, and also because we are talking about, we cannot just have like I would say someone who's a luggage boy, putting his stuff on a rocket. There has to be an engineer actually putting
yeah,
them into the cubes that we talked about in previous
yeah.
episodes, and they have to be secured in a certain way so that it makes sense and they can be launched in space,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
and if you have
Weight and balance
engineers,
is very important. Weight and balance is
yeah,
very important because obviously you want this thing working and not going pear shape in any form. And as soon as you have people on board in a later stage, and especially if these people are not trained astronauts anymore, obviously you need to make it fail safe, right? So you need to make it fail safe that nobody can touch anything or ruin anything for anybody else, and it has to be safe.
and I also think that as soon as we have like space tourism going, then we also have to have like souvenir shops that has
Yeah,
to had well, I mean, let's face it, right? They need to exist, and store owners, uh,
merchandise, Spaceballs, the flamethrower.
exactly. And if you have like souvenir shops, you have also fast food restaurants and so on and so forth, and suddenly you have like more connected to the spaceport. You can build an entire city around a
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
spaceport, right? Even if
yeah.
it's like it
Well,
has
of
to be a
course,
little
yeah,
further away, obviously because of security reasons. But you get the point, right? I
yeah,
think
100%. Yeah, these are the second and third degree spillover effects. So obviously, the first one is you build rockets. Then second spillover is you need also the adjacent infrastructure and manufacturing capabilities. So that generates jobs. Now suddenly you have another spillover because more people live in that area. You need more houses. You need to construct more houses. You have more people living there, more families. You need more. Suddenly you need more shops, more schools, and so on. And that generates even more. They have a real chain reaction going on from there.
well, that's very interesting. Let's stop for now because otherwise we are going into a very
Otherwise, we have
long
more spillover
more
effects.
spillover effect into this episode.
Yeah.
Well, if you
We
like
don't
that,
want you to spill over though.
I no, I don't want to spill over. Well, now you took me out of my concept here. That's not fair. All right. Well, if you like this episode, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already,
Hit that notification bell
and also leave a comment.
and check out our other episodes.
Yeah, don't forget to check out the other episodes. All right. Have a good one. Bye bye.
Bye, guys.